life after death experiences.
There was a time where I legit died and came back to life. Some people know about it, some people don't. In 2019, I was dying in a hospital bed from my severe alcoholism, 20 to 30 beers every single day for 9 years straight, acute pancreatitis. I was on my deathbed. My pancreas was failing because of the alcohol. Now my liver was. God saved my life, and let me tell you why. Because in the midst of me dying in that hospital bed, God, in that moment, showed me the reason to live. What do I mean by that? In that hospital bed, I decided to die to my old ways, and I was risen as a new creation in Christ. I had a choice to make. The doctor said 2 weeks away from passing away if I did not stop. God gave me a choice. I chose to die to my old ways, and because of that, I believe God spared my life. He raised me from the dead. He legit turned my addiction into an addiction for Him, and He can do that to you too.
I knew I was somewhere else. I knew I had died. I would say instantaneously, when I flatlined, I immediately crossed over into this other realm. And I remember my body just floating in like this white space. And I felt as light as a feather. I felt free. Yeah, it was pretty instantaneous for me. I remember 1 minute being in this world, and the next minute being like, I died. I knew immediately. I was in this white space where I felt like I was formless, and I felt light as a feather. I felt free. And I remember feeling really free of the burdens of everyday life.
Was there a feeling of panic at all? You know, like I've died. Oh my God, I've died.
It was more, wow, this is so beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Absolutely.
And was it one of those things where you were above the room? Like, where were you seeing?
It wasn't like an out-of-body experience. I literally was in a whole other realm. So I was no longer in the physical hospital room. Mm-hmm. I was completely in another realm. I actually felt connected to my family on the other side, and I felt connected to the heavens. So there was no distinction of, okay, I'm dead and I'm in this other world. It was more, I just gracefully walked through this door and made this beautiful transition into another realm.
She had a life-changing near-death experience during cardiac arrest when she was dead for 90 minutes. So Sherry, I know you said that in the moment, it felt like you did a life review. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's funny because it actually wasn't just a life review of my current life. It was actually a life review of any experience my soul had ever undergone. So, which is so crazy. It was so crazy to me.
Did you believe in past lives prior to that moment?
I didn't think anything. I really didn't even know what a near-death experience was until I got back. So this was all very foreign to me. Mm-hmm. I had heard maybe of people that had had an out-of-body experience. I did not know what this meant. So yeah, I mean, this was definitely very, very foreign for me.
And do you feel like you got a window into prior lives?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing that I really learned was sometimes we all have like this common reoccurring theme that's happening in our lives, whether it's, poor finances or relationship trouble. I got to learn during my lifetime reviews what that common theme was and actually how to clear it.
Wow.
Because what had happened was it was attaching to my soul during every lifetime.
I'm sorry, but I believe that. I feel like that's part of karma.
Yes.
And that you keep getting the chance to get it right. Yes. And eventually, hopefully you do, and you move on to the next plane experience.
I am definitely no longer afraid of death. And that was something that I had feared my entire life.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that fear of death really prevents you from truly living. And so if you were to know me prior to my near-death experience and now, it's like I'm two completely different people, because I lived pre-near-death, I lived my life very, all my decisions were like based around fear. Fear of what other people thought, fear of what other people would say, fear of not being good enough, or fear of being unworthy. Even though I was successful in my earlier years, every decision was still based upon that. Now I flipped the script. I'm doing everything different.
I love that.
Hi YouTube, my name is Allison, and I wanted to tell you today about my experience that I had with the Lord. And to start off, I was in a near fatal car accident back in 2013 in June. It was the night of June 3rd, and it was raining outside, and my car had flipped down this huge hill, and I had landed upside down, high centering a drainage ditch. And I did not think I was going to make it out of my car, but I did get out of my car, and I managed to crawl, because no one saw this happen. I managed to crawl for almost 8 hours in the rain. The sun was coming up towards the highway for help, and once I reached help, I went to OU Medical Center for surgeries, and my second back surgery went very wrong. They had clamped my chest tube, and I had suffocated to death. I'm not sure if that's illegal to clamp your chest tube or not, but I heard it was. Anyway, and I had suffocated to death. All of a sudden, my soul began to rise out of my body, kind of like my soul was like levitating, and it was kind of a painful experience, really, because it felt like the weight of my body was like being crushed as my soul was rising up out of it. And I rose to the ceiling, and I was looking at my mom and my doctor and the nurse, trying to figure out what's going on with me. All of a sudden, I was transported into these, what I like to call the tunnel of colors. All kinds of colors in this tunnel. I was going super duper fast, and all of a sudden things got super white, and I was in this waiting room, and it looked to be a 10 by 10 waiting room, what I call waiting room. The ceiling, the walls, the floor was white. There was a very dense fog in there, kind of like there was a huge cloud in there, and I had looked down to see my body, and I could not see my body, and I was just clear, but I knew I was moving around and stuff. I knew I was still intact, and this is what I think that I drew a picture. Don't judge my picture, y'all, but this is what I think that I looked like in this waiting room. This was my soul waiting in this waiting room, and all of a sudden, these three men in robes, their robes were like a dark red and a dark green, and embroidered with gold, and one was in front and two were in the back, and they were slowly walking towards me. And as they were walking towards me, they had their hands out like this, as to say, we mean well, don't be scared. But honestly, I was totally terrified, so I got myself in the corner, and I stretched up as far as I could in that corner, and just looking at them in terror and fright. And they took a look at me, and they discussed among themselves, and in my head I heard them all say to me that, or amongst themselves, that she's not ready, she's not ready. And once they said that, I was transported into the tunnel of colors again, and I appeared on this hill, and on this hill I saw the most beautiful scenery with so many awesome, vibrant colors. There was gold, and this gold was just unimaginable. Not like any kind of gold we see here on earth, but there were gold wheat fields to my left as far as the eye could see, and there were gold cornfields to my right as far as the eye could see. And in the middle of the wheat and the cornfields, there was a valley with a stream running down the middle of it. And as I looked further, I saw people and children and this woman with a basket on her head collecting corn and wheat. And it was just such a beautiful sight. And I was looking around, and all of a sudden Jesus comes walking up to my right side, and I knew it was Jesus because it just the vibe, just the aura that he had around him was just so breathtaking and so peaceful. And I remember looking at his white robe and his sandals, but I was too scared to look at his face or his eyes. And he all of a sudden went like this, as to say, this is just a little glimpse of heaven. This is just a little bitty tiny piece of heaven that I'm showing you. And I'm just so honored that he did show me what I saw, and I don't think I'll ever forget, because it was just such a beautiful, beautiful sight. All of the colors, all of the aura, everyone was singing also. The workers down there that were collecting the wheat and the corn, they were so happy to be there, and they were singing beautiful, beautiful music that was just so peaceful. And I just wanted to let you guys in on what I have seen. At the time of what happened, I was a pagan. I was very much a sinner. I did not know of Jesus. I knew I had heard about him every now and then, but I did not know Jesus, which makes me very thankful that he did show me what I have seen. I knew that there was a higher being out there. I just didn't know what it was or anything. But I just want to tell you all today that Jesus is real and God is real. And one day we will see them if we keep believing and we turn from our wicked ways. And after Jesus had shown me heaven, a glimpse of heaven, my mom in the room with my body had figured out that they had clamped my chest tube, and they had unclamped it, and all of a sudden 2,000 cc's just rushed back into my lungs. I went back into the tunnel of colors, went straight through the tunnel of colors again, and my soul slammed back in my body. Like the breath was, it felt like I had just been punched in my chest as hard as somebody could punch me. And my soul just slammed back into my body, and I awoke here in the physical world again. I wanted to share my experience with you all today. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope that everything was understandable and stuff, and I didn't say a lot, because I am pretty video camera shy. Not picture shy, but just video camera in general. But I do want to continue making videos and sharing with you guys my other experiences as well. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you could, if we want to subscribe to my channel for more video updates. Thank you all so much for listening today. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and just keep on chugging, you guys. This is going to be a great journey. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Let me tell you a crazy story of how I got hit by an 18-wheeler, died, came back to life at the age of 14 while I washed this wig, because it's time to wash this wig. The crazy thing is, if I died, my son, Theo, right here, he would not be with us. So my family, my mom, my dad, and my brother, I just had one brother at the time, we were on our way to Michigan to go see my aunt and my uncle and my cousins who live there. We go to Michigan all the time, like a couple times a year. But this time, it was November 26, 2006, I believe. And it was freezing rain on the road, on the highway. Yeah, you know that like black slippery stuff that you can't really see sometimes. You just spin out. Yeah, that happened to us. So we were just past the Kingston Highway. Basically, we slipped on a black piece of ice and our car was fishtailing like crazy. My dad was trying to control the car, and by the time we got the car controlled back, we spun out and we ended up horizontally on the highway. Guess what was right behind us? An 18-wheeler truck, like the biggest truck on the road, no biggie. Guess who it directly hit? Me, 14 years old, weighing about like 65 pounds. I kid you not, I had that whole out-of-the-body experience, totally met God, totally saw my car, totally felt my spirit being dragged back into me, and I woke up like hanging over with blood spilling out of my mouth. All I could hear was my parents clapping and saying, "Breathe, Tinny, breathe." Finally, I took my first breath, and I couldn't move, basically paralyzed everywhere. I was in the hospital for a whole week, tore my shoulder, my liver, my kidney, bruised both my lungs, punctured one of my lungs. It was freaking crazy, guys. But the cool thing is I saw my guardian angel. He was beside me. He was cute. He looked like 17, blonde boy, blue eyes, basically my type. Anyways, there you have it. I died and I came back to life. Okay, bye.
Hi, I want to make a video about a story of something that happened to me in 2015. Also, I want to tell everybody, they were wondering why I've been spitting so much. It's because I've been wearing Invisaligners and also a retainer, and I'm not used to it. So I've been spitting a little bit. People are curious why, but I want to get back to my story, and I took my Invisaligner out, so I'm not going to be spitting everywhere. Back in 2015, I went to Bangkok, Thailand. I went to the Bumrungrad Hospital. I saw a special on 60 Minutes that it was one of the top hospitals in Thailand. So I went out there to get a hip replacement, and it was an AI hip replacement, which is awesome. I don't think they even have it too many places here in the States. But I went in, and to do it here in the States, it's about 6 months of appointments back and forth, multiple places. In Thailand, I showed up there, and within the third day, I had all my tests done, and I was going to go in for surgery for a AI hip replacement. I went in, and they gave me antibiotics, and they gave me penicillin before the surgery, which is a normal procedure. And right when they gave me the penicillin, I went into anaphylactic shock. My head blew up, they said, the size of a watermelon, and I died for 8 minutes. I flatlined for 8 minutes, and they had their best doctors in there trying to bring me back to life. Well, I flatlined for 8 minutes, and this is what I saw. I went up a tunnel of light, and I was traveling up, and when I got to the top, I was met by 2 beings. I'm not sure if they were angels or beings or family members. I'm not sure, because that part was kind of like muffled. But I traveled up the tunnel of light, and when I got there, it was the best feeling. It was the best everything. And I think I would have stayed, but I had 2 children at the time that I was raising half-time. So when I got there, I said, I have to go back. I can't stay. I was insistent. I didn't ask. I was telling them, I have to go back. I have to go back. My boys need me. I'm going to raise them, and they need me. They need a father in their life. If it wasn't for my two boys, I probably would have stayed there. At the time, I went there with my girlfriend, my new girlfriend that I had got together with, Wendy, and who's now my wife. But they brought me back to life and had me on life support, and I was in a coma for 3 days. I remember being there, and it was the best everything, the best feeling, the best, my senses, all the best. And I remember being happy that I was like, wow, I must have been good because I went up. I was like, thank God I didn't go down. I went up, and I was like, I went to, I guess it's heaven, but I would have stayed if it wasn't for my two boys. But 3 days later, I woke up out of a coma, and one of my good friends, a friend that I traveled the Amazon with, he happened to be in Thailand, and he went right over and see me, and he was with my girl, like giving her some moral support, Fred. And I had tubes up my nose, 2 tubes down my throat, and IVs in both arms. And I couldn't talk because I had all of this stuff in my mouth. So as soon as I woke up, the first thing I signaled to my friend and my girlfriend, I said, I was signaling them that I needed something to write on. And this is coming right out of a 3-day coma. As soon as they handed me a piece of paper, I wrote down, and I don't know why I wrote this down, but this is what came out from death on the other side. I wrote, I am Buddha. And boy, it wasn't too big over there in Thailand. They were freaking. That is against the law. And if I hadn't been sedated and on anesthesia and everything else, they would throw you in jail. That's like a serious offense. You're not allowed to talk about Buddha at all. But when I came to and was talking to the doctor, she said, hey, you cannot say that here. That is a big no-no. And I said, I'm not the Buddha. I am Buddha consciousness, and I am awake. I'm aware. And I told her, you are Buddha too. And I said, we're all Buddha. We're all Buddha consciousness. I had been in Thailand, so maybe that's why I had that experience and said that. I had been going to all the Buddhist temples in Bangkok, and it didn't go too good with the Thai people. They don't even allow that. But when I woke up, I told the doctor that we're all Buddha, and we're all potential Buddhas. We all have the ability to be awake and aware in Buddha consciousness. And at the time, I'd been studying Buddhism. I've been studying Christianity. I've been studying Hindu. I've been studying all the different religions. I was at a point in my life where I thought all the religions could come together as one religion. And there's one God, and the one God is for everybody. So I recovered, and the doctors told me, we cannot believe you're not brain damaged, because when someone flatlines that long, usually you get severe brain damage, but I think God has other plans for me, and I lived. But I just wanted to share that experience and let people know that death is not bad. If you're going to heaven, it is actually the best place, the best feeling, the best everything. The people that are suffering are the people that are still here and missing their loved ones. But to go to heaven was an incredible experience. I remember it clearly, being there and going up the tunnel of light. And I only came back for my two sons who were young at the time and they needed me. But I hope you guys liked that story, and I'm going to tell some more stories. Please give me a like. Please follow. God bless. Thank you.
So please bear with me while I tell you guys my story. I have not done this yet. It's been 2 years, and this is why I don't talk about it. But, hi guys. Some of y'all have probably seen me on your For You page. I don't be getting on here crying, girl. But some of you guys have probably seen me on your For You page here recently, singing, because that's what I do. I originally started TikTok in 2020. And I had my first viral video in 2020, singing. But before that, I went viral on Facebook with over 5 million views. And that was a jump start of my career. I always could sing. I've always sang. And I've always done shows. And I've made it to like the 4th rounds of The Voice. And American Idol. I'm too old for American Idol. I know that a lot of you have asked me to go on different shows. But there's some things that some of y'all who are new that y'all don't know about me and why I cannot participate in making my dreams come true on The Voice or any music show. As you can tell, singing is my life. That's all I know. That's all I've ever known since I was little. It was my first love, my everything. October 28th, 2021 is the day I was hospitalized for having COVID. They originally thought I went into the hospital like multiple times, over and over for like a week straight, and they kept sending me home without oxygen until finally the last time I went, they kept me, and I was wondering like, why are y'all keeping me? It's just COVID, right? It was like, everything was starting to slow down. Places were just starting to open up, so I didn't think it was that serious. Until the doctor came in and told me that they found pneumonia with COVID. Destroyed my life. I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks. My mom, she fought so hard with me, for me, every day. Jay, my friends, my family, all my social media platforms, everybody was praying for. I knew it was going to be a tough battle to fight, but I didn't expect it to be as serious as it was. So like I said, I was in there for 3 weeks. And then on November 12th, 5 nurses, 2 doctors walked in, and the chaplain And I looked at her and I said, what are you doing in here? You only come in when people are dying. When I tell y'all my whole body sunk through the bed, because she looked at me and she said, I said, you only come in when people are dying. I said, am I dying? Am I gonna die? Am I gonna die? And she told me, I can't talk to you about that. I'm gonna let your doctors and your nurses talk to you. So obviously I already knew, something was going on with me. So I looked at my nurse and I said, what's going on? Why is everybody in here? And she was like, Jasmine, we're about to put you on a ventilator because your body's not strong enough to fight COVID and pneumonia. It's not strong enough. You won't make it if we don't do this. So in about 5 minutes, we're going to inject your body with a paralytic and a sleep, a sleep medicine. And I just looked at her and my whole body I was just like, what? I thought I was winning. I thought I was winning. I thought I was beating you. Y'all told me I was good yesterday. What's going on? And she was like, well, your lungs are just too stiff. And your body can't handle trying to breathe on its own. You need help. And I told her, I looked her dead in the face and I grabbed her hand and I said, please. Please don't let me die. Please don't let me die. And she looked at me and she said, I'm going to try my best. Let's say a prayer. And the chaplain prayed for me. Another doctor walked in and I prayed. I called Jay and I left her a voicemail, and my brothers and my siblings, I left them a message and I said, please don't forget my voice. I love you so much, and if I don't make it out of here, please keep going on with your life. I love you guys so much. Don't forget me. And then I felt a rush of peace. That was God. That was God. They came in and they injected me, and I went night-night, and that's what we call it. They put me on a ventilator. I was on life support. Fully, 100%. Only activity I had was brain. My body needed full support. So basically I was dead. About 3-4 weeks, a month into it, they kept telling my mom, you need to pull the plug. She's not going to make it. She cannot be on here long. If she's on here long, she's going to suffer brain damage. If she wakes up, if she survives, she's going to suffer brain damage, vocal damage, all kind of stuff. But my mom refused to let me go. She could not do it. My brother, my family, they couldn't do it. On December 12th, if I'm not mistaken, they pulled the plug, turned the thing down. They didn't expect me to survive. And then I survived. I'm here. I'm here. But I also lost my voice. I lost my lung function. They don't function the same as you guys'. My voice is different. My tongue was completely black. It was dead. So I can't feel the tip of my tongue. I have eczema, but I can't feel the tip of my tongue right there because it was completely dead. So now I have a lisp. But God wasn't done with me. He saw the best in me. And I'm so glad my mama didn't give up on me. Because without her, I don't believe I would have survived. Without her and God. There were things that I saw in my coma that I don't know how to explain. That's for a whole nother story if you guys even want to hear. If you guys even watch this. But I survived. And the reason why my voice sounds different, raspy, is because the tubes were in my throat right here and in my mouth right there to keep me alive. So My whole life has completely changed, and I don't know what I am without singing, so I'm just gonna keep pushing. So here is to anybody struggling with loving yourself and believing in yourself. Don't give up, keep going. I am a living testimony. I survived something that I was not expected to live. So when y'all see videos of me practicing on singing or working on my lungs or anything like that, COVID pneumonia is the reason why I'm like this. But I am grateful. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I get to see my nieces and nephews grow. I'm so happy I get to get on here and still perform for you guys. And for everybody who leaves me sweet comments and encourages me, please keep them coming, because without you guys, I don't believe that I could keep going. You guys love me even in times where I don't think I love myself or believe in me. So thank you. Thank God, and thank everybody who prayed for me during that time. I have pictures and videos on my on my TikTok page. And that's my story. Love you guys.
When I died in 2019, I had absolutely no interest in the spiritual world, the woo-woo stuff. I clearly remember when everybody started getting onto vision boards. I thought that shit was so stupid. I was like, what are y'all doing? Making visions for your board? I literally, like, everybody was talking about The Secret and manifestation. I think that was like 2014, 2015, something like that. All I remember is that I thought people were so stupid. I didn't even realize that I was a Pisces. Like, I didn't know my chart. I had no clue of any of these spiritual things that I am clearly obsessed with now. And so when you have a near-death experience, when you die, like I did of malaria in 2019, there is something that unlocks in you. There is an activation that happens, at least for me. I know that I saw this other side of the veil. There were 4 women dressed in white hovering over my body, and they didn't necessarily talk, but it was almost like harmonies and music that was coming out of their mouths with no words, but just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna hit that note. And they showed me like the other side of this experience, the other realm. And it felt so warm, it felt so inviting that I was like, let's go, bitch. Like, I'm out of here. And then I remember deciding to fight for this life. And what I can say is that ever since then, I have been down every rabbit hole of spirituality, every rabbit hole of plant medicine, of the different books from like Eckhart Tolle, Law of One, Abraham Hicks, Neville Goddard. I spend all of my time, especially when I lived in Bali, sun up to sundown, I'm just reading books. Osho, Bashar, like literally I ain't miss nothing. And now I cannot come back to a regular life. I can't. It's so hard to keep trying to tether to this regular life, and especially my career as a photographer. So I have finally figured out why I've been so depressed, why I have been so fighting against myself, because my new career is as a writer. More on that in part 3.
I'm going to talk about a near-death experience I had that I guess I never talked about it on social media. So this took place in February of this year in Las Vegas. So me and my family on a trip out there, and this particular day we on the move all day, walking from this side of the strip to the other side and all over the place, right? So later on we go to this store, and you know, if you got like a iPhone that's like cinematic mode or something like that, how the camera is extra focused, that's how my vision was looking. And I'm not realizing at the time I barely got to drink any water, and we in the desert at the same time, not thinking none of it. And so I just remember my vision looking kind of strange all of a sudden, And I'm thinking like, man, I'm tripping. Like, something ain't right. So all of a sudden, I feel like I need to sit down. And I kept saying to myself, like, man, I need to sit down. But there's nowhere to sit in this store. And we waiting on the Uber to come pick us up. And next thing I know, I turn to my fiance and I'm like, I don't feel good. And the next thing I hear is all this commotion and everybody is saying like, you okay? You okay? And it's not registering that they talking to me. And I open my eyes and it's kind of like in a movie where it's just the camera lens, but it's like the person's point of view. Everybody's standing over me like panicking. And they ask me like, are you okay? And that's when I realized they talking to me. And in my mind, like I feel good, like I'm okay, I feel normal. But my body wasn't reacting to what is going on in here. And I'm trying to tell them like, I'm good. And they asked me what happened. And I'm like, I can't talk. I'm just shaking my head like this. And my body is just still. So what happened, I turned to my fiance and said, I don't feel good, and instantly collapsed to the floor face first. Like I didn't stop it or nothing. I was out cold. And once I came back conscious, everybody is standing over me and asking me like, you know, dude, we need to call the ambulance. And I'm trying to tell them like, no, I'm good because I feel okay. But I wasn't realizing my body wasn't reacting to what was going on up here. Couldn't stand up, couldn't move. And I just remember being in and out, and the ambulance got there. And my fiance is like, he's dehydrated because I always had veins in my arms 24/7. My arms was completely flat, no veins. So they got the EMTs there and they load me up on the stretcher. I can't even move. I'm barely able to move. So they throw me in the back, and this is where the experience happened. I'm laying there flat and I'm fading in and out of consciousness. My fiance kept saying like he's not okay, like he looked completely out of it. And the EMT is like, oh, just rest. I rested a little bit and completely blacked out. And I remember seeing something that looks like, you know how space looks, how they show you it's like all black, and it'd be like the galaxy is different colors like white and blue. That's all I could see, and it was completely peaceful and quiet. And the more I relaxed, I felt my body just being, it's hard to even explain. It was like the most peaceful thing I ever felt in my life. I was just completely out of it, spaced out somewhere. And the more comfortable I got, the more I felt like I was fading away into like a deep sleep, or I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure somebody in the comments can explain it later. But right in that moment, I understood like when people get to that point where they die, they hit that crossover point or some shit. And that's exactly what I was feeling. And all of a sudden something kicked into where I'm like pushing away from this shit. And I snap back out of it and I sit up on the stretcher like this. And I'm just like shaking my head no. And my fiance is like, babe, what's wrong? And I could not like respond. But in my head, I'm like, hell no. Like, I know what the fuck I just seen. And I see how people really pass away because that shit is really peaceful or whatever it is when you cross over. And I'm just shaking my head no. Little did I know, the whole time that I was experiencing that peace, my body is laying on the stretcher shaking like this. And I didn't feel none of it. And once we had got to the hospital, I'm like fighting the whole time, like staying up. And my fiance is like, don't go to sleep. She's a nurse. She's like, do not go to sleep. And I'm saying in my head, like, I know if I go back to sleep, I'm not waking the fuck back up. Like, I feel it. And once we got to the hospital, that's when I like got my breath and everything back in order. And I felt okay. And I stayed up that whole rest of the time at the hospital. But that was, I'm talking about my life after that, even being on vacation the rest of that weekend. I remember us going to like Caesar's Palace or something and seeing all these like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and all these expensive shit. And I'm just looking around like, bro, this shit is so fake. Like life just wasn't the same after that for a long time. And I realized how artificial a lot of the shit is with real life. Like we worry about a lot of things that don't really matter because life itself and just being present and being with your family, like that's what this shit is really about. And it gave me a different perspective on life and focusing on what's really important to us. But yeah, that's like my near-death experience or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to add that to the near-death experience TikTok.
So then I was taken to Life Review. And basically what this is it's kind of like a movie of your whole life playing in front of your eyes. Every single moment of my entire life since being born was played in front of me. And it wasn't just like it was a movie being like watched. You could feel every single emotion you have ever felt in your entire life, like all at once.
Okay, Tita, I just wanted to get your story again from what happened when the doctors called the family in. And you said something yesterday that I cannot stop thinking about. What happened? It wasn't a dream, right? Like you felt like it was real. You really feel and believe it was real.
It is real. I was in this beautiful, the skies are just massive, white, floating. It's like the snow, but I can't see. But it's so light. It's just so peaceful. And then I saw myself in the garden walking. This painting that I painted a while back, and I painted a garden. And that garden, that painting that I painted, that's where I was walking.
Like not a single worry?
No.
Is it like a peace that you've experienced on earth before?
No. Yeah. And so I know that God is leading me there. Because I used to sing the song. He walks with me, he talks with me, and he calls me, I am his own.
I died and came back to life. Let me tell you my story. In 1993, I was 23 years old. I was in college, and I suffered liver failure first, and because of the medication they gave me for the liver, I went into kidney failure. After 9 months in the hospital, my skin was brown, my eyes were black, my tongue was black, my fingernails were black. I looked like I was a goth. And what happened is, one day a stranger came into my hospital room. He told me jokes, he laughed, he told me all these stories, and at the end of the night, just as he got ready to leave, he looked very serious and he pointed at me and he said, in this universe, there is a kind and a loving and a benevolent force. And if you reach out to it and ask for help, it will reach back and help you. And he left my room. And that night, as I was laying in the hospital bed, I fell asleep and I woke up in the middle of the night freezing. And after some struggles, I suddenly realized that I was not in my body, I was above my body looking down at the hospital bed. I was dead. And I went through these sort of spiritual experience, white light experience that many people talk about. An elevator of light came and carried me upwards, and I met a being of light who explained my life purpose to me, my reason for being, and what was incomplete. And at the end of this vision, the being pushed me back down into my body. And I woke up in the hospital in the morning completely healed. In a short time, within a week or two, I started noticing that I could see energy around people's bodies. I could see dark clouds around places where they have problems. You know, a dark cloud around the head if they had a headache, or a dark cloud on their shoulder if they had shoulder pain. And I started experimenting with using my hands to try to scoop those dark clouds away from people. And the thing is, it worked. They always felt better. Their pain always went away. The problem was, I always took on their pain, and I'd go home for 3 days and have the worst headache of their life. I promised myself after a little while I'd never do that again, and because I got sick every time I did it. And I probably never would have tried to help anyone ever again, except that one day I was walking through Union Square Park right across the street from where my New York City Reiki Center is now, and I saw an old man on a park bench, and he called me over to him. He said, "Young man, come over here." And I looked at him. Of course, New York was a scary place back then. I stopped, and he said, "You ever look at people and know exactly what's wrong with them?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You ever put your hands on them and make them feel better?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I bet you felt awful every time you did it, didn't you?" And I said, "Oh my God, how did you know? Why does that always happen to me? Why do I always get sick when I help people?" And he said, "That's because you're using your own energy to help people. And when you use your own energy, you get weak and you pick up their problems." And he got a flyer out of his briefcase and he handed it to me and he said, "I'm teaching a class this weekend called Reiki. Reiki is a Japanese energy healing technique, and when you use it, universal energy flows down through you and out your hands into the people you touch." He said, "You always get stronger every time you use it. You'll never pick up the problems from the people you touch, and you'll get more intuitive and know exactly how to help people." And I took the class, and that was the class that changed my life. I've been doing Reiki ever since. It's 29 years now, and I haven't stopped.
I had started to leave my body. And as I was leaving my body, I could see them all around my body. And by the way, I wasn't seeing with physical eyes because my eyes were closed. It was more like an awareness, a 360-degree awareness. This feeling of feeling free. I was light, I was free. And this awareness and this feeling was so much more powerful than what I was seeing. This is what overwhelmed me. It's like, wow, I feel really good. I don't feel the pain anymore. I don't feel the fear anymore. I feel incredible. I feel light. I almost feel powerful. I don't recall ever feeling like that in my physical life before. That feeling was overwhelming, but in a good way, overwhelmingly good. I wasn't even amazed by the fact that I had 360-degree peripheral vision. It's like, I've never felt so good.
Right. So when you're at that stage right now, as you're explaining, are you feeling like you're still Anita?
So I was gonna wait to tell this story until the dust settled a little bit more. I'm still dealing with like doctors, lawyers, police, etc. And I figure by the time I'm ready to tell the full story, like some details might get lost and I might like forget some things. So like I figured like why not tell like this part of the story right now while it's still fresh in my head. So as we know, I got hit by a car and I flatlined in the ambulance April 6th, and I've tried to make this video a million times, so this is gonna be the last one. I better get it right this time. So I'm gonna tell it in order. I flatlined in the ambulance. I don't remember being in the ambulance, but I know that my dad was with me while I was in the ambulance, and my dad passed away in 2018, and it felt warm and fuzzy and safe, and I just felt good, and it was dark. I don't remember experiencing anything, feeling anything, seeing anything. I just remember a state of being. Like I wasn't a human, I just was a state of being. And yeah, so that was pretty interesting. I woke up in the hospital. I already had stitches on my forehead and on my left elbow. And I remember immediately when I woke up, I was kind of irritated and like annoyed, kind of like how you know how babies fall asleep like in the stroller and then they might wake up in a whole new location and they're like, what the fuck? I basically woke up with that feeling because I was like, damn, I felt like I was just like having a good time with my dad and like he like dropped me off here type thing, you know? So I was like, okay, like I woke up and I was like, all right, I guess you just dropped me off. You was having a good old time. Like I was kind of annoyed or irritated. And then like as my conscience started to kick in and whatever, they were taking pictures of me for the report for, you know, the doctors or whatever, and they turned me over to my right side, and my right side has like, you know, my ankle fracture and then or sprain or whatever, and then my wrist has 2 breaks. I'm getting surgery soon, and then long story short, my right side is fucked up. My left side is more like road rash and like things like that, but my right side's like really messed up. I have the muscle tissue damage. So when they turned me over to my right side, that's like when I really started to wake up and I'm moaning and groaning and I'm just like, what happened to me? And then they're telling me like, you got hit by a car, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, does anybody know where I'm at? Because I remember walking off from my friends, and I walked off for a good ass reason. I'm gonna tell that story another time, but I remember walking off from my friends, but I was with them. I was with people when I got hit by the car, but I wasn't sure. I just remember that I walked off. So I was like, does anybody know where I'm at? And they kind of weren't really answering that question, but they were just like, okay. And I remember I was laying there and they told me you have a 5 milliliter brain bleed. And I just said, okay. And we're waiting for the results for the CAT scan to come back to see if you need surgery. And then I think they were going to do another CAT scan to see like how the brain bleed was progressing or whatever. I don't remember doing any CAT scans. I don't know. Then they came back and told me that the CAT scan was fine and that, you know, whatever, that I wasn't gonna need surgery. It was clotting. And yeah, so they were kind of like a scab, and they're like, if you do this and that or whatever, like you could have another brain bleed. So I was under really close watch for the first few days, and I remember just laying there and I was just like, okay, like what do you say, you know? Like obviously, like, you know, when you drink a lot, you might wake up and you're like, oh, how did I get home or something? How did I get here? But I've never just woken up at the hospital in pain all over my body. So I just woke up and I was just like, oh, okay, like what else? What do you say? Like literally, you wake up in pain and these bright lights, all these people are touching you, you're fucked up. I can't even tell you one place that I was in pain. I was in pain everywhere. So I just was like, all right, like, and if I need brain surgery, fuck it. Like what do I say? What do I do? So I'm just laying there. Then they tell me, you know, clotted, I'm fine, whatever. I don't need surgery. So then I'm just laying there, and it was interesting. But I can say one thing that like flatlining and coming back is just really an experience that's hard to put in words, but I'm gonna try anyways. It's just very like, when I came back, I was like, oh, I'm in the 3D for sure. Like this is all 3D as fuck. So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is what I'm doing now. I'm here now. So things have definitely been different for me for sure. Of course, physically and mentally, whatever, I'm dealing with the trauma and all that. But like spiritually, I've been noticing and I've been feeling a lot different. I'm still processing that. I don't even want to attempt to put that into words right now because honestly, it's my experience. And if I choose to share that, I will. And if I don't, I won't. I probably will. Like, I'm a talker. So in person, like my friends or, I'm kind of processing it and I'm talking about it with some of my friends who kind of understand where I'm at and like my spiritual journey and just like who I've always been as a person. But, I'm Jamaican and Haitian from South Florida. So like you can put two and two together right there. Um, but yeah, things are definitely not the same. Things are definitely not the same at all. And I part of me really thinks this is for the better. I always think that God has a bigger plan, whether it's even just for me to like share my journey or share my perspective with life and help the next person, or just like my other self's work is not done. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to put it into words because I feel like I'm gonna get it wrong. But it's all a huge journey and experience, and I'm just keeping my eyes open every day. I'm sober as hell. Weed, alcohol, sex, none of that right now. So I'm sober as hell. I have all the clarity in the world. I'm seeing all the signs. I'm processing them, and I'm taking every sign for what it is, because best believe before I got into the situation, there were a few signs that I might be in this situation. There were a few things that I was just thinking of or saw that now I'm like, that's really funny that I saw that or I thought of that before I got into the situation. So now I'm not taking any signs lightly at all.